Coming up on Weekday, communication skills to help parents manage with school shootings.
Dr. Gail Gross will be here answering your phone calls.
We'll have a profile of an extraordinary teacher.
And the lazy gardener will also join us.
All that and more today on Weekday. Hello and thanks for joining us. I'm Doris Childress.
And I'm Ernie Manouse.
We have an important subject to discuss on today's program, and that is school violence.
And in honor of that, Dr. Gail Gross, who happens to be a nationally renowned expert on the subject and also a local Houstonian, she'll be answering your phone calls.
And you can make a note of that phone number. It's 713-741-8357.
And we are lucky to have Dr. Gross. She's back with us again. She's been here before.
Right.
And you folks might know her from her radio show on KCOH at 9:30 in the mornings to 11 on Saturdays. And she's here today. And she's going to be helping us out with this problem.
Very serious subject. Very serious subject. Yeah. I can just imagine some of the concerns. You know, you send your kid to school, and then something like this happens, and there's really not a profile for the person who commits these shootings on the campus, and then the repercussions that it reaps. You know, the parents and the children and counselors. It's a strong subject.
A question I would always ask my mom or other adults was, when do you feel like you're actually an adult? And I always still feel like a kid. So I always think about these issues. When you hear them in the news about what's going on in high school, you think to your high school days like they were just yesterday. And you think, boy, our concerns were so different. And the things we worried about. Did you ever imagine someone would show up at school with a gun? Never would have crossed my mind. You know, not having my homework done was a big concern.
Something like that, yeah.
You know, it's frightening.
But today, parents, you can get questions. Once again, you can call in to our station, and that number to call is 713-741-8357. And you can talk with Dr. Gail Gross. She's going to be here with Paula Fleming in our family segment. But we're going to go ahead and get started with today's program with a story about a teacher whose enthusiasm is changing lives.
You're going to have Mr. Reyes cut it off.
Middle school is a tough period for any kid. You're just beginning to find out who you are and what your life is about. And it's real easy to get lost.
You know, the guys said that they didn't like them because they were different or they were picked on.
That's why Mr. Clarity played such an important role in my life. He was my teacher, my mentor, and my friend.
He actually taught me with his humor. Not only did he teach me the lesson, but he taught me how to lighten up and accept like people's personalities, you know, for what they are, and try to have fun with things.
The one thing that sticks out in my mind the most about Mr. Clarity would be his sense of humor. He was so funny about everything that he said and did.
True enough, it was a bat, and it started flying around in the room, and you know, and at first, you know how it's like, it's a bat, and everybody's running around the room, and I'm like, you know, it's no big deal, sit down, and then the thing started flying by me, and I'm like, it's no big deal. So by this time, I mean, I didn't run, I just walked real fast to the door.
When I first started history in his class, I was like, oh no, not another day of history, and then all of a sudden he popped up with these funny stories, and he made every place he told about really exciting and fun and interesting. And it made me want to go back to history class the next day.
I was telling you guys that when I was in Russia, this guy was playing this little, I forget what you call it now, but he was playing this thing in this little park, and as I walked by, I noticed he stopped playing, and he got up and he came over to near where I was standing, and he was trying to speak to me or tell me something. He was talking about my jeans, and he kept pointing at the jeans.
Wherever he tells us about someplace in the world, it seems like he's just been there already. He tells us a story about it. He'll tell us something that makes it funny.
So later on, this other tour guide came along, and he was trying to tell me that this guy wanted to barter this little thing for my jeans. And the whole time I was thinking, boy, what am I going to wear? You know, I don't want to walk around without my jeans. But again, in Russia, you know, jeans, that's like a status symbol. You know, like here, you know, people wear nice jewelry, or you wear your heel figure or something like that. But there, jeans are just really popular. So no matter what condition they're in. So I bartered my jeans for this little thing.
So what'd you wear?
What did you wear? Of course I went back to the hotel. I didn't walk on the street like that. Gosh. I wasn't far from the hotel, so I could go back there.
He has a lot of decorations in it. In one section, he'll have little miniature flags of different countries and states and everything. And behind them, he'll have, like, if it's an Egyptian flag, he'll have maybe an Egyptian mask or an Egyptian artwork or something like that. When you see it, it's rather than just to look in the book like, oh, there's a flag or whatever, you get to see it hands-on.
Challenge. And the goal is to be able to name several things in a category without saying or every summer I try to go somewhere that I haven't gone before so that I could come up with a different perspective, and that keeps me sort of from getting stale. And every summer when I'm on vacation, I'm just traveling and I'm scouring around looking for some little artifact, some little souvenir that I can bring back and I can use in class. Every vacation is a working vacation because I'm always looking to try to find that one thing that's going to just hold somebody's attention and that's just going to be the beginning of a nice lesson. Okay? One more.
Okay,
Oh,
God, you got it right.
I mean, right to the last minute.
You got it right at the last.
Miss Aragon, let's give her a tough one. Name 7 American rivers.
The Ohio River, the Mississippi River.
He just teaches us in a way, he makes learning fun and not boring like most teachers would.
Okay, I'd like for you to do this country. Look at the board over here.
He challenges us. He has what is called the 3 Ds, drive, desire, and discipline. And he says that if you contain those 3 elements, you can get through anything you want in your life.
Let's throw a tough one in, a landform. How about the landform that's here, that creates this Indian subcontinent? I think I listen, because different kids have different problems or different situations, and I try to listen to them, and I try to just make them feel that, they are worth listening to and that they are a part of the classroom. And I want them to feel comfortable so that learning can take place. Okay, the correct answer, the Himalayas or Himalayas, okay? You can't lie to kids. They pick up on that real quick, whether you're honest or not.
He made us feel special. He made it feel like this was something that you could do. If it's going rough, keep trying was his motto. Anything that you set your mind to do, you can do. That was one thing that he really instilled in all of us. And I really love him for that.
Is this mainly what our test is going to be about?
It's a real cynical world. It's a real cynical place where a lot of times you overlook people like that. Man, teachers, forget them. Kids, forget them. Forget about it. And this world's going to, burn, with all this cynicalness. But you have people like this that come around and really open your eyes. And people should stop and notice them more.
The land of the what, Miss Villafay? The land of the what? My students tell me I'm a big kid at heart, so maybe I can just empathize with them. Because it's like every little thing that touched me, I could feel something moving on me. I'm thinking, some spider on it,
Well, as we've just seen, a teacher can make a profound difference in a child's life. The same can be said for a parent, counselor, or mentor. Unfortunately, for a myriad of reasons, too many kids don't seem to have the support system that they need. The results have been horrific school violence. In today's Family Connection segment, we want to help you communicate better with your children, their classmates, and educators. The number to call in your question is 713-741-8357. And we're so grateful to have Dr. Gail Gross with us again, and she will be here to share her expertise. And, of course, we welcome you back to Weekday.
Thank you, Paula. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, I'll tell you, I wanted so much to do this because as a parent, I am fearful every day when I send my ninth grader off to school, because even though it's not Santine, we're not in Santine, and this is not Columbine, this is not, Littleton, but still it can happen here.
Oh, yes.
What do we say to parents like me who have those concerns?
Well, they're real concerns, and you have to know the rules, and your children have to know the rules when they enter these environments now that are no longer safe. We realize now that schools are sub-communities. They're just a microcosm of what we have in a big city or in a town.
Right.
So these are communities that we're sending our children off to, and they have to have skills to get along. And that's why we have to create curriculum, and they have to be in place up front to deal with these problems before they happen.
So should a parent contact their school, say, look, I want to meet with the administrators, continually talk to their kids about their concerns as well as their child's concern?
And practice and rehearse with your children. You know, you can't control what really happens, but you can prepare your children just as you do for swimming, falling in a swimming pool, just as you do to not tell your child not to go into the road, they'll get hit by a car. Now we have to train our children, practice with them and rehearse how to deal with danger in school.
Well, Ms. Pittman is on line 1. Let's take her call, Dr. Gross.
Great.
Hi, Ms. Pittman. What is your question?
It's a question that I've thought of for a long time. Don't the teachers see this bullying going on?
Don't the teachers see what's going on? Well, you know, thanks for your question and your call. That's a good question, because we're putting our trust in the teachers, but that's an awful large responsibility also for the teacher, don't you think?
Yes, but you know, I have to say that, as Ms. Pittman is saying, the real tragedy in these shootings so far is really that no one was listening to these children,
right.
And these children were speaking to everyone. They were telling people they were in pain, they were being bullied. You know, as we said, the school is a subculture, and there's a lot of bullying going on in our culture, and it's a complex problem. The children are imitating that behavior, and teachers are looking at it as just the normal thing that goes on in adolescence, which is, of course, the most dangerous time of a child's life. They're very emotional, overreactive.
So are we ignoring?
And so we're not paying attention.
Right.
And that was the real tragedy. Up to this point, no one listened to these children.
Or to the signs that maybe they weren't speaking, but they were acting in a certain way. We have another caller. Hi, Annette. What is your question?
How can we effectively encourage parents and teachers and school districts nationally to start teaching conflict resolution in primary grades as well as middle and high school?
Boy, thanks for that. That's an excellent question.
You're exactly right. I, in fact, am working on a curriculum that has conflict resolution in it, and it goes from kindergarten right through senior high school, and that's really what we need.
Or even preschool.
And preschool, too, because we have to do another thing here. We have to bring in the parents.
Absolutely.
Parental involvement, because
that bridge has to be there.
The parents have to realize that they're modeling this behavior for their children at home, except that they're socialized, so they may keep somebody out of a club, or they may keep somebody out of a neighborhood, or they may talk against somebody and then socialize with them. And the children aren't that sophisticated, and they act out what they're feeling and experiencing and being told at home.
But maybe what we need to do in answer to Annette's question is, you know, get involved with your school.
You bet.
And tell them that you want involvement, and you want it from on a national level, not just local.
You bet.
We have Shannon on the line. Shannon, thanks for calling. Shenna, sorry. What is your question?
Well, my question is, I want to know why nobody do anything about the bullies, because I think the main cause of all this shooting is the bully person who causing the other party who go get the gun and shoots. You know, they have it up to here. They can't tolerate it anymore. So the only things they think the solution is go get the gun and shoot everybody.
Okay, thanks for calling in.
And Shanna is so right. You know, when I was a young girl, we had citizenship in school, and part of health was about how to get along with your neighbor. And we would take this information home to our parents, and we'd talk about these kinds of things at the dinner table. Suddenly there's this hands-off attitude, and teachers are afraid they're going to be sued, and everyone is ignoring the signs around them, and it's become a disconnect. The communication has really broken down between parent, child, and school.
Absolutely.
We are totally disconnected, and as a result, all of this is happening now in a very unbridled way. And what we have to do is bring the focus back to the home, to the school, and to the teachers, so that we work as a team to look at this problem and get involved with the bully. And of course, the bully is a child who is often acting out in an aggressive way what he is bringing to school, and many times
or experiencing
yeah. himself.
Yeah. One thing, I was talking to my 14-year-old about this, and she was saying, well, Mommy, you know, some kids are teased all the time, and they don't know how to handle their teasing. And that any of these instances that have happened have been kids who have been teased.
Absolutely, and rejected. And what viewers may be interested in knowing is, for example, the kids at Columbine. Those kids were very good students in their school of origin.
Right.
It was only when they transferred to Columbine, making new friends, and they were teased and outcasted, and ultimately they found a way to get even. And when children are moving down this tunnel of losing options, they're feeling depressed, rejected, outcasted. All these options fall away, and then they're down to one or two, and they usually are getting even and creating violence to level the playing field again.
What can parents do to encourage their children, their child, to keep an eye and ear open, or both eyes open and both ears open? If they see something awry in school, how do they communicate with that teacher? How do you encourage a child to do that? Because some kids want to just step back, and that's happened.
Yes, and you know, they're afraid to be alienated from one another. And, however, it is so important to know that a child in trouble is relieved in the end, that someone cared enough to step forward and say, I think you're in trouble, and go to a teacher and say, I think my friend is in trouble. In the end, not in the beginning, but in the end, they're relieved that someone cared enough about them to pay attention and listen and help. These kids all cried out for help. We call it the empathic process, where you really put yourself in the other person's shoes. And to be a good friend, you have to do two things. You have to be reliable and have empathy.
I keep thinking about the gentleman who sat with the boy in Santine the day before, and I'm sure he's feeling so much remorse, but I'm wondering, what stopped him from calling the police? I mean, what did he not hear that, or what did he hear that prevented him from calling?
Well,
should we stop at all, or just take
We have to take everything seriously now. These things are coming up in clusters. We call them copycat forms of behavior, but we now know we have to take these threats seriously. Until this point, we had this this space of not taking things seriously. Oh, so-and-so's just angry, they're overreacting. But if you look at the history of that particular child, and he is a child, he'll be tried as an adult, but when we use the language of the kids he killed, we call them kids, and he's a kid too. And these children, he suffered quite a bit. He had his room broken into, he was beaten up, his skateboard was stolen twice, so we know that he had been pretty well victimized by the time he reacted.
We also know that some children do not let on that they're not able to handle this kind of behavior by hiding it, by masking it.
Children at this stage want one thing more than anything else: to fit in. And what does everyone want? To be liked. And here they come to a new school, and they don't fit in, and they're teased, and they're made to feel insecure, and they lose their options. Ultimately, they get depressed.
We have Crystal on the line. Crystal, what's your question? Thanks for calling in.
Yes, I wanted to know, you know, when I deal with my children in school, and there's a lot of women in the school system, which is good, but I think it needs to be, you know, for an adult with the understanding that children need both male and female as a role model. It seems to me it makes a big difference. I mean, because I know a lot of young male children, they don't see that. They don't see that male influence.
Thanks,
and
Crystal.
It's just like having peers. You know, when you see a man and you see that, because there's a lot of households that don't have a male in their home.
Crystal, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We appreciate your question. Our time is running short, so please forgive me for doing that. But I think that's a wonderful
a great point. And in fact, who is the first model for a child? The first teacher is a parent. And if there are two parents in a home,
but there are many cases that are not.
And we have divorce, and we have many things that are going on in a child's life which takes the male influence out. So yes, we need modeling, mentoring.
And there's many programs that make that available for male role models. Our time has run out. This is such an important topic for all of us. I appreciate you coming in and talking with us.
It's so important. I thank you for having me. And I just want to say to take these things seriously and pay attention to your child and know your child.
Okay, and don't forget that you can interact with Dr. Gross on her weekly radio show, Let's Talk, on Saturday mornings from 9:30 to 11 on KCOH. And until next time, please take care of yourself and your family.
Thank you, Paula and Dr. Gross, for that important information. In our next segment, Brenda Smith takes us to a memorial garden.
The Houston Arboretum in Memorial Park, and they've just put in a really special, beautiful little garden, and I'm here with Pat Marks to ask her about it. Pat, what is the Sensory Garden?
Well, the Sensory Garden is actually a memorial to one of our former board members, Carol Tackcon, and because she loved nature and she loved being out of doors, we decided the best memorial we could do for her was to create a garden.
Well, that's perfect, absolutely perfect. The plants you have in here, are they what?
Well, what we decided was our mission deals with plants that are native to Houston and adjoining areas. We decided to open up that mission just a little bit and make the plants in this area native to Texas. And we decided to go with things that would appeal to the senses. So sense of touch, smell, sight, and hearing.
And hearing, we're eliminating taste, huh?
Well, we don't want anybody to taste out here because there's too many possibilities you could get in trouble.
True, absolutely true. Well, like we have, I know you have lantana and the verbenas, and up here, the beautiful salvias. Oh, those are so pretty, and they're so easy to grow. What, like a salvia, now what would that do for us? How would you?
Well, salvias, in fact, all the salvias that we have can be used as teas. And if you go up and crush their leaves a little bit, you'll get that scent. They're all scented. I'm not sure I would want a tea out of this, but it is a bona fide tea. So it not only appeals to your sense of sight, because they're so beautiful, but also to your sense of smell.
Are the kids encouraged to?
Yes, so when we go through here, we pet. We try not to do a lot of pinching, but we do a lot of petting.
Petting, okay.
And then smell our fingers or smell the plants that we've
plant petting
crushed. Yeah.
What is this right here? That's so pretty.
Cilantro.
That's cilantro. Oh, that's going to smell great. Ooh.
That smells good when you bump into it.
That's a good one to plant if you have dogs that run through your yard. Yes, absolutely. I want to ask you about something up here around the rudbeckias, because this looks like a problem that I have at home. You have a nice little fence. They can't get to the rudbeckias.
Well, we planted this purple coneflower because one, it's got a nice texture to the leaves. It's stiff and kind of spiky, and the center, the cone part, is very spiky too. But the other reason is because it has a wonderful scent. So we planted it in here so you could go over and smell it. But unfortunately, the bunnies found it before the visitors did. So we've had to put in a bunny fence to deflect them so we can let the plants get a good start.
After they get a good start, are they not as attracted to bunnies?
Well, one of the things that's happening in Memorial Park is we have sighted coyotes.
Coyotes!
So we're hoping that the coyotes will come and sort of discourage the rabbits from the civilized areas.
Oh, what a pleasant way to put it. Now, I have to ask you about this, because this has to be one of the most popular plants in the whole Sensory Garden.
This has really gotten startling all of a sudden.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
I planted it last year as a stick because one of my friends, Will Fleming, said I had to have it. And this year I understand why.
It is gorgeous. What is it now?
Well, this is one of the rattle boxes, Sesbania, and after these blooms are finished, they will put on a seed pod that when it dries you can shake like maracas.
Sesbania. Kind of spell that for us.
It's S-E-S-B-A-N-I-A.
Isn't that beautiful? That's gorgeous. It's such a pretty airy kind of leafy flower. I assume you're going to be expanding this garden and bringing more plants in. And
well, it's kind of a test garden for us. We never know what the rabbits will leave for us. And just like every other gardener, we were always overestimating the amount of sun we had here. So we have to put things in, and when they don't quite work, we have to do some substituting.
So if you want to know what the rabbits won't eat, I have this problem at home too. You can come over here and
you can talk to me, and I'll show you everything they've ever eaten. I can't tell you what they won't eat because I haven't found that yet.
Thank you so much,
You're
Pat.
welcome.
I really appreciate it. This is a beautiful garden. Do come and visit it in the Memorial Park area in the Houston Arboretum. See you next week.
And don't forget, you can always enjoy Brenda's column in Saturday's Houston Chronicle. And if you'd like to order your own calendar guide, you can do so by dialing the number on your screen.
And that's just about all the time. We have a couple things we want to tell you. First of all, before we forget, we've got guests in here today.
Hi, guest. How you guys doing? You can hear them, but you can't see them.
Yeah,
okay.
and who are they?
They are with the Texas Executive Women's Mentoring Program from Milby and Westbury High School. So thanks for joining us, ladies.
That's one thing. The next thing we have to tell you about, there's a bear exhibit coming. I don't understand this at all. You're going to explain it to me.
The Science Museum of Minnesota has a bear exhibit coming through, and you can see life-size giant grizzlies and some skeletons, along with cuddly teddy bears on exhibit. Stuffed real bears, and then you got teddy bears to kind of soften the exhibit. No live bears. And that exhibit is going to be benefiting quite a few charities. That's going to be at Town and Country Mall. It runs through April the 29th. For more information, you can call 713-463-9595 and call extension 309. But it benefits great charities like the Pelchins, the Catholic Charities, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, Kid Care, Spring Branch, the Shriners Hospital, Girl Scouts also, Friends of Houston Public Library, and the Greater Houston Women's Foundation, just to name a few.
There is an admission fee, but if you're a Channel 8 member, you can get $1 off. So
and that's a member benefit for this month.
And that is all the time we have for today. Don't forget to watch Weekday every Monday through Friday, 12:30 and 10. Until next time, goodbye.
Goodbye.
If you'd like to contact us at Weekday, call us at 713-743-8513. You can email us at weekday@kuht.uh.edu or visit the Weekday website,